Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Loremaster's Lair. I'm the Laughing Salesman, here today to talk on and expand another topic from the travel guide. As one who has traveled the world of Golarion, I am an expert on what people want. And one thing they always want is the latest fashion. So that is what we will do today. We will look at the fashion and clothing from across the Pathfinder setting. The card is loaded up, so let's take a look inside. First, let's start with the most basic. Most clothes within the inner sea region are linen, cotton, and wool. Easy to grow or shepherd and share. Good for dealing with water, good for keeping a balance of temperatures in the elements. I should not need to teach you what fabric is, so. We then have silk, which is much more expensive, but it shimmers more, and to many people, that outweighs whether it's practical or not. A good first place to start is to look at the typical attire of the different ethnicities of the globe, and where better to start with high fashion than talons. Here, even the poorest of citizens use cheap fabrics and paste jewels to try to make themselves look as elaborate as possible. They are always the ones chasing the newest trends and always trying to be the ones to start the next. Men are known for their finely groomed beards, and women for their elaborate wigs. Got caught on something. Then we have the Chelish. If you're looking to make a pretty penny, offer them something expensive looking. They'll eat it right up. Of course, they consider themselves modest, but they still deck themselves out in velvet and silk, lacy and ornate whatever they can. And with the Church of Asmodeus having an influence over the nation for the last century, hell-influenced designs are also common. Yes, this looks like hell to me. Now, going away from those who dress like the Elf Witch at all times, we go to those who are fabulous and know it. The Varisians. Their clothing is pinned with dyes and pictured with plants, animals, and a variety of arcane symbols. They are also the first group we look at today who would rather keep their wealth as jewelry than in a safe. But what are Varisians without scarves? If you know what you're doing, a good scarf can be clothing, tool, and weapon all in one. Their northern neighbors, the Shanti, completely live in harsh environments, so it is not any surprise they favor clothes that are non-restrictive and minimal. One thing that they must have is high top leather boots, which I don't have a pair of with me at the moment. But this fashion statement is because of poisonous animals who might pass through their villages. They are also covered in tattoos, which are used more as tradition fashion, but they tend to stand out nonetheless. Of course, both of them draw from Tassalon. With the nation back from the dead, we now have new and old colliding together, bringing forth previously unseen fashion statements. In addition to runes tattooed to one's body, the return of Tassalon is a return of needlework techniques lost to time, bringing forth lace which current techniques can never hope to capture. There are also masters of wearing see-through skirts, the purpose to show off embroidered boots and jeweled tights underneath. And as for jewelry, well, gold and silver is never enough. Tassalon will find ways to turn any metal to jewelry and wear as much variety as possible. The last we have on Avastan, except for some specific examples later, we have the Orphans. Despite their love of war and harsh environments, they take as much pride in their appearance as their sword. That said, their harsh lifestyles make even the finest clothes they wear practical. But by lining their coats with warm fur and keeping most of their wealth as jewelry, it makes them appear as if they are already legends to be remembered for centuries to come. Now we move farther south, return to Garund, and start with the Gurundi. Clothes worn by the Gurundi are traditionally clothes suited for being beaten down on by the unforgiving sun, able to cover both body and head, and billowing around them. Color-wise, in the area where they live, they have access to enough fabric and dyes to have their clothes whatever color they want. Veils also help with the environment, and ornate hair ornaments include ribbons, beads, jewels, thread, and wires. And no one needs to tell you the marauding expanse is beautiful, and the fashion of those within just as much. Being an entire third of the continent, has a variety, but in general it is mostly comfortable, well, especially compared to clothing found in Avestan. And the jungles are home to a variety of dyes and semi-precious stones to keep one always looking their best. But of course the Magambia campus that it is one place where you can spy upon the latest of fashions for the school year. First of all, many students wear a variety of colors, not just in random patterns, but ones with symbols and significance. Because why would a student of Magambia not wear a story on their back? Likewise, who would not want to wear a blanket coat to keep warm, to keep dry, and to have something to lie out when one reads in the grass? Sensible clothing is needed for traveling across the campus, and a school bag completes the ensemble. And while we're on the topic of schools, let's take a quick detour back north to compare with the common styles in Ustalav. Ruffled shirts are the name of the game up north, though rain and fog do still necessitate layers. That said, I am more in love with the blanket coats than Ustalav's canvas duster. The leather aprons they wear, however, are both stylish and practical for the doctor on the move. Now that we're done with the inner sea region, looking at our near neighbors, as one would expect, the Chelish clothing is designed to keep the sun off themselves. Fabric is light, and veils or headdresses protect the face. Most those of the city keep with traditional garb, but modify it to work as luxury instead of utility. Even soldiers prefer to wear light armor, preferring to dance around the battlefield than tank. And if you're looking specifically at Kadira, which has its own fashion from being between two cultures. Sure, there are loose-fitting pants like all others, but to appear in foreign courts, they are willing to wear impractical but stylish shoes. They also tend to wear long sleeves over short sleeves, creating layers but still dressing for the weather. And nothing will earn you more respect on the streets of Kadira than a well-kept mustache and beard. Kudra itself is a large continent. Being able to say for certain the fashion preferences of the ethnicity as a whole is going to be a tall order. But of all the different fashions, one commonality, despite region and social status, is that they wear some form of draped silk and some form of ornate jewelry. And finally, those from Tian are of course not one unified people, so dress and style are different between them. Three of them stand out among the others. The Tian men are known for marking their bodies in tattoos, usually in forms of their culture's spirits. The Tian Las almost are always wearing light armor, and wear the head long and braided. Completely different from how mine currently is. And the Tian Sing have a love for body modifications, from tattoos covering much of their bodies to elaborate forms of piercings. That all said, regardless of where they are from, Merchants will usually only show one or two features of their own ethnicity, preferring to play up the inner sea region's perception of Tian as a whole, wearing silk robes, jewelry, and heavy perfume. Part of the job, I guess. Now let's look at specific fashions not tied to ethnicities. Starting with Alcastar, considering how different it is to the inner sea region's usual attire. One word: leather. Nice and flexible, used for jackets and trousers. Second word: metal. Nice accent of chains showing those around you who is the biggest dog in the area. Combine the two, studs and patches soon become armor when they are layered close enough together. Finish with a pair of goggles to keep the sand and sun out of your eyes, and you find yourself ready to rough it in the manner races. Another rough look comes from the other side of the ground, in the shackles. The basis of the piratey fashion is to protect from getting wet, so the long cloaks they wear are made of wool. Tall leather boots can keep one's legs dry. If one wants to protect their eyes while still maintaining their menace, then look no further than a wide-brimmed captain's hat, or a simple bandana, your choice. As for jewelry, well, nothing proves you're a pirate faster than having the spoils of war upon you, is there? Of course, the fashion of queens can dictate the fashion of many nations. Take, for example, the fashion of the newest queen of Irsen, Anastasia Nikolava. Her gowns tend to skew closer to those loved by all royal ladies, corsets and busto padding creating the perfect figure, as well as Irsen fashion, fur-lined coats for warmth and glass beads made to create patterns like snow on clothing. However, her largest advantage is her not being from the world of Golarion, and therefore is able to revolutionize the fashion scene with a hairstyle known as the pompadour. And for non-human royalty, look no further than Queen Talandia of the Elves. While capes made of crystal and skirts made of sheer fabric are impressive, it is the forces of nature which really make her look fierce. Not only does she have a crown which changes with the season, so it's always in season, but she calmly drapes herself in living plants, so just as others might drape themselves in furs. Except, of course, for them to still be alive and regrowing like no cloth gown can. And that brings us to the end of today's video. Hope you enjoyed a little sneak peek into the world of fashion and maybe got a few ideas how to make your own fashion statements traveling the inner sea. But that's it for me. Next week the Loremaster will be starting Halloween just a little early. That's me. I will see you next time my card comes around. I feel way to pirate hat. Take care, everyone.